policy making in Nigeria?
Uh, I believe that, first of all, I must give a very beautiful shout out to Comrade Aisha Yusufu. Even though Nigerians see her as a very tough woman, she has been very, very indelible in my perspective of life, beyond politics, beyond civil society. I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to her for all her kindness to me. Civil society sure does influence decisions and what have you in Nigeria. However, I think the biggest problem we have is that we now have sentimental activism. We no longer have a wholesome or holistic activism. People, people make criticism. People think that activism is more of criticism. They do not even understand that activism can be criticism and even can be partnership with leadership. So, because we now have more activists who believe that consistently being cynical or consistently being critical of the government in power will give them more followership and will add them more credit. We no longer have a wholesome, or we no longer have that sort of element like we had during the Gani Fawemi times. We no longer have a lot of that. What we now have is selective activism. What we now have is our frontliners, our front runners, having political affiliation and having strong political leanings, and their advocacy, their mindsets, their thoughts, and even their propositions now have the coloration of their own personal bias. When activists have personal preference of individuals, you do not expect them to now speak for Nigeria because they already have interest. It's quite unfortunate, but I believe that when our civil society starts or kickstarts pushing for policies, pushing for reforms for the sake of Nigeria, not for the sake of individuals, not for the sake of political party, not for the sake of religion, not for the sake of ethnicity or tribe, then we'll have a better Nigeria. We need to learn, and we can learn from nations who have strong democracies and who day in, day out have been able to continue to strengthen their institutions, their judiciary, to show and push for the betterment of their country. Thank you.
All right, so your book Unleashed Dreams bridges the gap between student activism and real politics. What are the key takeaways you'd share with youth